Good morning and welcome to English Lessons on Iman TV. We're going to start our lesson today with a grammar lesson. And the grammar lesson is on making WH questions that we studied before. So I'm going to give you some practice on that. And then after that, we have a listening comprehension in which you'll cover vocabulary, and then I will read the passage to you, and then you answer questions, and then we end our lesson with the grammar lesson, and that is about the irregular verbs. So let's start our lesson with the WH question. Remember, we talked about yes/no questions and WH question. The other word for WH question was what? Information question. Like if you ask a person, do you speak English? The person could say what? Yes, or say no. But when you ask a WH question, the person cannot say yes or no. Like if you ask me, what's your name? I cannot just say yes or no. I have to say something. I have to give you some information. So that's why these words are called WH words, or information question words. So please repeat after me together. What, where, when, why, which, who, whom, whose, and how. We studied some of this before, but not all of them. So in every segment of my lesson, I try to include some of them and give you more practice. So remember that after most of these WH words, you have to use an auxiliary. Auxiliary is a word like do, like does, like did, like will, like can, like is, like am, like are. So after these words, you have to use one of those words, then the subject of the sentence, then the verb, and then the complement, and then a question mark. So here are some examples here. First, we need to know which one is used for what purpose. So we use who for what? For a person. So whenever you ask a question about a person, you use who. Like you say, who is he? Somebody sitting in front of you, you say what? Who is he? You don't know the name of the person. So in other words, it means what is his name? Who is he? You also use whom for what? For persons. See, who if it is the subject of a sentence. Whom if it is the object of the sentence. For example, if I say that Umaid speaks 4 languages. Now, Umaid is what? The name of the person. Speak is what? The verb. 4 languages is what? The object. So if you don't know who speaks 4 languages, the name of the person, then you say what? Who speaks 4 languages? The subject, who. You ask question with who. But if you say, Umaid met Abdul yesterday, you want to know who was met by Umaid, then you cannot use who here. You could use who, but the correct answer will be what? Whom. So you say what? Whom did Umaid meet? The same thing here. So you use who for the when you ask question about the subject. You use whom when you ask question about the object. Whom does he meet? Or whom does she meet? She meets a friend every day, for example. You use what for things or actions. You use when for time. Like, what is he eating? He's eating an apple. So apple is a thing. When is what? Time. When do you leave? So I leave at 8 o'clock, for example. Why are you sad? Why are you sad? So you ask a question because. You give a reason. I'm sad because I'm sick. I'm sad because I heard about a friend who is very sick. So why? The reason. Or why are you happy? I'm happy because it's a very nice day, for example. Okay, how means what? A method. You ask about the means of transportation. Like, how do you come to school? I come by bus. I drive to school. With people ask you with how, it means they want to know the means of transportation. It's one way to ask. How many asks about what? Numbers, quantity. Like, how many pins do you have? I have only 1 pin. Which ask about choice. Like, Which pen do you want? So there are two pens, a blue pen and a black pen. Which one do you like? Which one do you want? What's your choice? I want the blue pen, for example. Whose? Ask about belonging. What belongs to somebody? Let's say you see a car, a new, brand, beautiful car there. You say, whose car is this? You say, this is Umayd's car. Means the car belongs to Umayd. Okay? So, whose, meaning what? Belonging. You ask about the belonging of something. So, that's how you ask these questions. Okay, what these questions means. The other thing I want to show you here, so these are some examples here. What does she study in school? So you ask about the subject. What does she study? Math? Or does she study algebra? Does she study business? So a thing. Where are you working now? Place. When do they go to Iran? Time. Why is he studying now? Reason. Which pen does Ahmad want to use? So you have a choice. Whom does Dr. Smith examine every day? He examines this patient, so you need to mention the object. Whose pen are you using now? And how do they come to work? Now, I have some questions for you. Choose a WH question word and use it in the following spaces. So there is a question, and before the question, there are some words like place, time, quantity, thing, person. So you need to see which of these WH words you could use. One thing about WH is what? That when you write it, you write W in H. But when you say it, you say H first, W next. That's more standard American English pronunciation, okay? Although people in spoken English, they could say what? W, they pronounce W first. But correct, bookish, standard, formal English is HW. Like you don't say what, you say what? What. You say first. What. Where. When. Why. Which. Who. Whom, whose, and how. You say first and then W. Now, question number 1. Choose a WH word. So from these words, what, where, when, why, which, who, whom, whose, and how, and use it here. The first one, does Simin work? So you need to find the place. Which word is used for the place? The correct answer is where. Where does Simin work? Time. Which word, which WH word do we use for time? Do you wake up? The correct answer is what? When. When do you wake up? Or what time do you wake up? At 6 o'clock. Quantity. Cars do you have? So you have to ask about the number. So you say what? How many? How many cars do you have? I have 2 cars. Thing. Did he buy yesterday? Something that which word do you use for things? Which one do you use here? What? What did he buy yesterday? Person. Did you meet? So in this case we say what? Whom did you meet? And then person, your favorite, the name of the subject here. Who is your favorite person? You say, John is my favorite person. So you could say that what? After WH, where, when, how many, what, whom, who. See? Does, do, did, is. We always use what? WH words. Now let me give you more practice. So again, these are your WH words. What, whom, where, which, when, whose, why, how, and who. And there are some sentences, and basically I want you to use the correct word for each sentence. For sentence number 1, Mustafa live, place. For place, which one do you use? The correct answer is where. Where does Mustafa live? Mustafa lives in San Francisco. Time. Does your class start? Which WH word can you use for time? The correct answer is, when does your class start? My class starts at 11 o'clock in the morning. When does your class start? Number 3, quantity. Quantity means what? Numbers. Brothers do you have? Which WH words can you use? The correct answer is, how many brothers do you have? I have one brother, or I have two brothers, something like that. Number 4, for things. Which WH word used for things? Is eating now? The correct answer is, what is eating now? He's eating a banana now, or he's eating a piece of cake now. What? So you have to name the thing. Person. Does he meet every day? Whom does he meet every day? Whom does he meet every day? So you say, he meets his brother every day. So the brother is the object, that's why you have to use whom. Also for person, who comes late every day? Who comes late every day? John comes late every day. See, whenever you ask a question about the subject with who, you don't use auxiliary after it. See, for other WH words, you use auxiliary if they are what? The objective case. But with subjective cases, you don't use auxiliary after WH word. I will give you more practice in the following weeks. But let me read these with the correct completion. What is he eating now? Whom does he meet every day? Who comes late every day? So that's how you make question with WH. Now, what I have here, I want you to make questions with when, where, who, or whom. What I have here, I have the answer in a sentence. So I want you to come up with the question. So the answer, so there is a conversation between A and B. A is one person, B is another person. So the answer that B gives is, in the morning. I come here in the morning. What question will be a good question to ask so that B can be the answer for it? I want you to think about that. Number 2, in San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. What question can you ask that the answer can be what? In San Francisco, or I live in San Francisco. My sister visits me every day. Excuse me. Excuse me. What question can you ask for this so that this could be what? The answer. My sister visits me every day. Let's look at the answers. In the morning, I come here in the morning. The answer is what? When do you come here? When do you come here? I come here in the morning. In San Francisco. Where do you live? In San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. My sister visits me. See, my sister is the subject. So do you use who or do you use whom? Which one is the correct answer? The correct answer is what? Who visits you every day? You cannot say whom here. Impossible. If you say that, it is not correct English. You have to say what? Who visits you every day? Let me read the questions again. When do you come here? In the morning. Where do you live? In San Francisco. Who visits you every day? My sister. In oral English, in speaking, we usually use short answers. We don't use long answers. So it's good to use short answers in what? In speaking. Question number 3. The answer is Zainab. Rahman visits Zainab every day. Zainab is what? The object. You have to make a question with a person. Question number 4. On Tuesdays, we study English on, should be Tuesdays, because he was very sick. The reason. So now let's see if you can come up with the answers. Rahman visits Zainab's every day. The question will be, who does Rahman visit every day? Because Zainab is the answer. Zainab is what? The object. See, Rahman is the subject. Visit is what? The verb. Zainab is the object. When you ask a question about the object, you use what? Who or whom. Both of them are correct. But when you ask a question about the subject, you can only use what? Who. So for this question, you could say both of them. You could say what? Who does Rahman visit every day? Or whom does Rahman visit every day? Both of them are perfect. But for the question that we had before here, the last one, my sister visits me every day. We want to ask a question about the subject. There is only one correct answer, and that's what? Who. Who visits you every day? My sister. You cannot say who. Okay, keep that in mind. So for the subject, you can only use who. For the object, you could use both of them. Who or whom. On Tuesdays. So it's time. When do you study English? On Tuesdays. That's the time. Because he was very sick. Now you give a reason. For reasons, what do you say? You use why. Why did John go to the hospital? Because he was very sick. Let me read the questions and the answers. Then you will move to the next page. Who does Rahman visit every day? Zainab. Rahman visits Zainab's every day. When do you study English? On Tuesdays. Why did John go to the hospital? Because he was very sick. Now we are going to study a listening comprehension. In this listening comprehension, first I give you the words. And then after the words, I will give you questions. After the questions, I will read the passage and then you will answer questions. So the first picture I have for you, what do you see in this picture? You see the picture of what? A fruit. And also what? The color. So for both of them, in English we use what? Orange. Okay? Please repeat. Orange. Orange. So it's the fruit, the color, for both of them. What's your favorite fruit? Orange. What's your favorite color? Orange. Okay? It could be for both of them the same word. What do you call this in English? The thing which is inside the orange. You call it what? And many other fruits have it. It's not just the orange, but you can find this in many other fruits. For example, melon, for example, or watermelon. You see this. What is that? It's called seeds. Okay? Seeds. But because it is the orange seeds, we call it what? Orange seeds. Please repeat. Orange seeds. Orange seeds. Or just seeds. Okay? Seeds. What do you call this part of the orange? I'm sure all of us have seen this one. What do you call this in English? Or in Farsi? In English, it's called sections. Okay? Orange section. So each one is what? A section of the orange. So please repeat. Orange sections. Orange section. What do you call this outside of the orange? What do you call that? See? It looks like this when it's on the orange. Also, you can cut it like this. What do you call that? It's called, starts with S. It's called skin. Like we have skin. It's our skin here. So please repeat. Orange skin. Skin. Human beings have skin. Fruits have skin. It's called orange skin. You peel the skin. This, of course, orange what? Orange tree. Please repeat, orange tree. What about this one? We studied this last week in relation to coffee. So this was called what? Leaf and what? Leaf. One leaf, many what? Leaves. So look at the change in the spelling. If it is singular, you say one leaf, L-E-A-F. If it's two or three or more, like here we have a lot of those, you change what? F to V, and you add what? E-S. So it becomes leaves. One leaf, two leaves. And these are shiny, so you call it shiny leaves. So you look at these glasses. I'm wearing one too. But look at the lens over here. Look. So I want to teach you two words. One is thick. The other one is what? Thin. And remember, both of them starts with TH. Whenever you see a word with TH in English, you put the tip of your tongue between your teeth and say like that. So you say thick and then thin. Okay? Thick, thin. But you cannot say it correctly unless you make sure that your tongue is between your front teeth like this. So you should see the tip of your tongue outside. So thick glasses and thin glasses. See? Here you see it's thick. This one is what? Thin. Thick, thin. Please repeat. Thick glasses. Thin glasses. So these are the words that you will hear when I read the passage to you. Some of them I already showed you pictures. But a couple of them I haven't showed you a picture, so I'll give you the meaning. So please repeat after me together. Please repeat. Orange, seed, skin, section, shiny, thick, thin, rays. So orange, what's the answer? It's a kind of fruit. It's also what? A color. Orange car, orange door, orange sweater, something. Seed means what? The grain of a plant that can grow. You take the seed, you put it in the ground, it grows. That's the seed. Skin is what? The cover, the outside of a fruit is what? The skin of the fruit. Like, for example, banana has a skin or peel, orange, and so forth and so on. Section is what? A part of something. Shiny means bright. We studied this before. Thick means what? Heavy belt. And thin, I showed you a picture, lean or opposite of what? Thin. Or opposite of thick. Raise, in this story that I'm going to read to you, it means grow. If you raise oranges, it means you grow oranges. But raise also means what? You raise children. You don't grow children. You just raise children. You take care of them. You also raise your hand. That's also raise. So raise has several different meanings. In this story that I'm going to read to you, raise means grow. Okay? So please repeat after me together one more time. Orange, seed, skin, section, shiny, thick, thin, raise. Now, let's go to the next part. The next part, what we have is what? 3 questions. And I want you to listen to the story I'm going to read to you. It's all about oranges. Okay, last week we read about coffee. This week we're reading about oranges. God knows what I will read to you next week, but this is what we have right now. So, do all oranges have seeds? Please don't answer questions until you have heard the story. Okay? So let me read the story to you first, then answer. In other words, your answer should be based on what I read to you, not on what you know. Okay? So just listen and then answer. Number 2. Where did orange trees probably come from? This means what? Where did the orange come from first? Where were they grown first? What country? What area of the world? What do you think? I mean, we have orange trees all over the world now. Most countries have orange trees. But where did it start? Where did it come from first? Do you know? I'm going to read a story to you. It's all about oranges. You will learn where oranges come from first. How did Europeans learn to raise oranges? European countries, they also have orange trees. But where did they learn? Did orange trees grow in Europe first? Of course not. They learned it from somewhere else. How did they learn to raise? See, raise here means what? How did they learn to raise means what? How did they learn to grow it? Okay? So, first reading. I'm going to read this to you 2 times, and then you will answer my questions. Are you ready? Again, the questions are, do all oranges have seeds? Remember, seed is what's inside the orange. Number 2, where did orange trees probably come from? And number 3, how did Europeans learn to raise oranges? Again, raise in this sentence means what? Grow. Now let me read the story to you twice. The first time I will read it a little bit slowly, and the second time I will read it at a normal speed. It's a rather longer story. I want you to just listen and only find the answer for these 3 questions. If you don't know other words in the story, if you don't understand other parts of it, don't worry. Just concentrate on these 3 things. Do all oranges have seeds? Now you know what seeds means. It's the nut inside the fruit. Where did oranges probably come from? Where is the first place where they found oranges? I want you to listen to the story and tell me that. And how did Europeans learn to raise oranges? Please listen. Everybody loves oranges. They are sweet and juicy. They are in sections, so it's easy to eat them. Some oranges do not have any seed. Some have a thick skin and some have a thin skin. The orange tree is beautiful. It has a lot of shiny green leaves. The small white flowers smell very sweet. An orange tree has flowers and fruit at the same time. There were orange trees 20 million years ago. The oranges were very small, not like the ones today. The orange tree probably came from China. Many different kinds of wild oranges grow there today. The Chinese started to raise orange trees around 4,400 years ago. Chinese art has lovely old pictures of oranges and orange trees. Farmers in other parts of Asia and the Middle East learned to raise oranges from the Chinese. Then they taught Europeans. The Spanish planted orange trees in the New World, North and South America. They took them to Florida first. Oranges are a very important crop in Florida today. In English, excuse me, orange means both a fruit and a color. We use the name of the fruit for the color. Now, let me read it one more time. Again, the same 3 questions. Do all oranges have seeds? Where did orange trees probably come from? How did Europeans learn to raise oranges? Let me read it one more time. Everybody loves oranges. They're sweet and juicy. They are in sections, so it's easy to eat them. Some oranges do not have any seed. Some have a thick skin and some have a thin skin. The orange tree is beautiful. It has a lot of shiny green leaves. The small white flowers smell very sweet. An orange tree has flowers and fruit at the same time. There were orange trees 20 million years ago. The oranges were very small, not like the ones today. The orange tree probably came from China. Many different kinds of wild oranges grow there today. The Chinese started to raise orange trees around 4,400 years ago. Chinese art has lovely old pictures of oranges and orange trees. Farmers in other parts of Asia and the Middle East learned to raise oranges from the Chinese. Then they taught Europeans. The Spanish planted orange trees in the New World, North and South America. They took them to Florida first. Oranges are a very important crop in Florida today. In English, orange means both a fruit and a color. We use the name of the fruit for the color. Now that I have read it twice, I'm 100% sure that you can answer these three questions. So question number 1. Do all oranges have seeds? The nuts inside. What's your answer? Yes or no? What do you say? Do all oranges have seeds? The correct answer is no, they don't. Some have seeds, some don't. So some oranges have seeds, but some oranges don't have seeds. So there are two. There are seedless oranges too. You go to the supermarket, they say what? Seedless watermelon, seedless melon, seedless orange means what? There are no nuts in it, okay? There are no seeds inside. Number 2, where did orange trees probably come from? I give you the answer. There's only one country I named. What was that country? That country is China, right? China. So orange trees or oranges probably come from where? From China. Did you know that before? The orange that you eat today, and also in Afghanistan, in Jalalabad, with very good oranges there. But originally oranges, they come from where? From China. How did Europeans learn to raise oranges? European means what? These countries that, like France and Italy and England and Germany, where did they learn to grow oranges? Who taught them? The correct answer is what? Asians. Asian here means what? The Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, that means Asians. Asian and Middle Easterns taught Europeans how to raise orange trees. Now let me read the questions and the answers, and then we'll go to the next page. Do all oranges have seeds? No, they don't. Some oranges have seeds, but some don't. Where did orange trees probably come from? They probably came from China. How did Europeans learn to raise orange trees? Asians and Middle Easterns taught Europeans how to raise oranges. Now, I have some more questions for you, but these questions are in multiple choice form. So it's not true, false, true or false, but what? A, B, C, or D. So I want you to choose one correct answer. True, false is easier because you're 50% right. Here, you have to look at 4 answers, not 2. Number 1, oranges are A, shiny and green, B, old and wild, C, sweet and juicy, D, thin and white. Which one is the correct answer? What do you remember? Number 1, again, oranges are what? Shiny and green, old and wild, sweet and juicy, thin and white. Which one did you choose? A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is sweet and juicy. Oranges are sweet and juicy. Number 2. Some oranges do not have A, seeds, B, sections, D, C, flowers, and D, skin. Which one is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Some oranges do not have, correct, seeds. Because some oranges are what? Seedless. Number 3. Orange leaves are A, shiny, B, thick, C, sweet, D, wild. Which one is the correct answer? Orange leaves are shiny, bright. Okay? Now let me read the questions with correct completion. Sorry. Oranges are sweet and juicy. Number 2. Some oranges do not have seeds. Number 3. Orange leaves are shiny. Let's go to the next page. Choose the correct answer from the choices below here. Number 4. There are many blank orange trees in China today. A, shiny, B, thin, C, wild, D, thick. Which one is the correct answer? There are many what kind of oranges? Shiny orange trees, thin orange trees, wild orange trees, thick orange trees. Which one is the correct answer? What did I read to you? The correct answer is wild orange trees. What kind of a tree is a wild orange tree? For plants, if it's a wild plant, it means what? It means you don't grow it. It grew by itself. Like mushroom, for example. There is mushroom that farmers grow mushroom and they eat it, right? They sell it. And the other type of mushroom that just grew by itself without the help of a farmer. That's called wild. Wild mushroom, wild oranges, anything that grows without the help of farmers, that's called wild. Wild flowers, for example. Nobody grows them, they just grow by themselves. Number 5. Europeans learned to plant orange trees from farmers in A, the Middle East and Asia, B, Florida, C, China, D, Spain. Where did the Europeans learn to grow oranges? The correct answer is A, B, C, or D. Which one is your choice? The correct answer is the Middle East and Asia. So people from the Middle East and people from Asia, like China and Japan and Korea, they taught Europeans how to grow oranges. Number 6, it means the answer is not in the passage I read to you, but you use your judgment and choose the correct answer. Oranges do not grow in blank. A, India, B, Sweden, C, Mexico, D, North America. We all know that what? Oranges need what? Some kind of a warm climate. So if it's a very, very cold place, you cannot grow oranges. So in these 4 countries, India, possible to grow oranges. They have good oranges actually because the weather is what? Warm most of the time. Mexico is very warm weather. North America also has what? Warm weather. So the answer, the correct answer is what? Sweden. It was not in the passage that I read to you, but you could guess the correct answer. So choose the correct answer from the choices provided. There are many wild orange trees in China today. Number 5, Europeans learned to plant orange trees from farmers in the Middle East and Asia. Orange trees do not grow in Sweden. Now, the next part of our lesson is that I'm going to read this to you together, and then we will see the meaning of underlined word. So you heard it from me 2 times. Now let's see if you can read it and look at the underlined word. I'm going to read it for you, and at the end of each paragraph I'll stop and then I'll point to those words that I have underlined. Everybody loves oranges. They're sweet and juicy. They are in sections, so it's easy to eat them. Some oranges do not have any seeds. Some have a thick skin and some have a thin skin. So, sections. What is the meaning of sections here? I showed you a picture. Means what? Parts. And they do not have any seed. What does seed means? The little thing inside the section. In the section you see 2, 3. In each section you see 1, 2, or 3 of these seeds. And some have skin. What's the meaning of skin? Skin means what? The outside of the orange. Very good. The orange tree is beautiful. It has a lot of shiny green leaves. The small white flowers smell very sweet. An orange tree has flowers and fruit at the same time. There were orange trees 20 million years ago. The oranges were very small, not like the ones today. The orange tree probably came from China. Many different kinds of wild oranges grow there today. The Chinese started to raise orange trees around 4,400 years ago. Chinese art has lovely pictures of oranges and orange trees. The words I have underlined is what? Many different kinds of wild oranges grow there. What kind of orange is a wild orange? You remember that? Wild tree, wild orange is what? The one that farmers do not grow. They grow by themselves, okay? That's wild orange or wild tree. And raise was what? The Chinese started to raise orange trees. Here raise means what? Correct. Grow. They started to grow these things. Around means what? It's not exact, but around, maybe a couple of years before or after, 4,400 years ago. And here is the last part. Farmers in other parts of Asia and the Middle East learned to raise oranges from the Chinese. Then they taught Europeans. The Spanish planted orange trees in New World, North and South America. So remember, North America includes 3 countries, and that's what? The United States, Mexico, and Canada. And all the rest of these countries like El Salvador and these are all what? In the South America or Central America. So they took them to Florida first. Oranges are a very important crop in Florida today. In English, orange means both a fruit and a color. We use the name of the fruit for the color. In this case, in Farsi also we have the name very close. We call the fruit naranj and the rang naranji. So we basically add E there and make the name of the color. Now, I have other parts here for you. I have a grammar lesson, which is the verb form, but unfortunately we don't have enough time left. So I expect you to review these words, read this, and also our engineer here, who made John, he's going to put all these lessons on YouTube, and you could download them, or you could review them there, and then read this more than 1 or 2 times, and try to get the meaning of the words. So I have to stop here because of time. I'll see you next week. بیننده‌های بسیار محترم تلویزیون ایمان، درس امروز ما با همینجا به پایان رسید. تا هفته آینده شما رو به خداوند متعال می‌سپارم. تشکر.